Hello everyone, greetings of the day. Myself Muskan from TeachersPride. So today I'm back with another chapter number 5 of business, transport services. So let's start. So in starting of chapter, we see like meaning of transportation. What is transportation? So it's the movement of goods and persons from place to place and the various means by which such movement is accomplished. So in this like transportation in our daily lives, we see, for example, like cars, planes, trucks. These are all like what transportation means, carrying goods or like people from place to place. Next is importance of transport. So facilitates the development of industries and markets and helps in expansion. So it's really important in our lives because like without transportation, life will be really difficult. Like for example, we want to go, from one place to another and we're in emergency. So it's really important to have like different kinds of transportation. Next is importance of transport, as I said. So there are like few points. So it makes raw materials available to manufacturers or producers. So in this like manufacturing, company and producers company, how the products manufacturers and sent to producer. It's by help of transportation. So next is makes goods available to customers. So for example, I'm owning my own business and I'm making goods, and by transporting from one place to another, that's how it will go to my customers. Next is enhancing standard of living. So for example, like I'm in a hurry, like to go, in my like interview or something. So it's really important for me to have like a different kind of transportation. Nowadays it's like Uber, you just book Uber and comes and picks you up. Next is facilitates large scale production at low costs. So in this kinds like there are like different kinds of transportation. So mostly like roadways, seaways, so different kinds of transportation. So it's like in different costs. Next is helps during emergencies and natural calamities. So in this, like for example, I have an emergency, like for example, like I want to go to hospital or somewhere. So I just call Uber and it just comes and picks me up. And natural calamities, like for example, earthquake, these kinds of things, it can help in that as well. Next is helps in creation of employment. So for example, as I said, like Uber drivers. So they're like employee of Uber company. So it's helping in creation of employment, and through that people work like taxis and all. Next is helps in labor mobility. Next is helps in bringing nations together. As I said, like for example, a few days ago it was Raksha Bandhan, and brothers, they wanted to travel to their sister's home. So this transportation helps them to bring the family or nation together. Next is modes and means of transport. So related but different terms that refers to the movement of people, animals and goods from one place to another. So these are like, as I said, place to place changing of, and there are like few kinds of transportations. For example, number 1 is land transport. So a fundamental mode of transportation for business connecting distribution centers, warehouses, and retail outlets. And it involves moving goods using ground-based methods like roads, rail, and pipelines. So in land transport, as I say, like, cars, trucks, and all. Next is road transport. Transportation of goods and personnel from one place to another on roads. So, and like roads and railways, for example, as I said, like the difference between these two are like in landways. For example, I live in like landways is like for bigger places. For example, from Chandigarh to Delhi or from Delhi to Chandigarh. So by that it's like landways, and land transport is important. And for example, like Bhogar to Lajpat Nagar, then road transport, because it's in the same city, like small like places. Next is advantages and limitations of road transport. So there are like few points. So advantages, like it provides convenient services, and disadvantage, it's not suitable for long distance. Yes, suitable for perishable goods and unsuitable for heavy goods. So, and like, as I said, like there are seaways as well. I'll come to that. Next is rail transport. So it means of transport on vehicles which run on racks, rails, or railroads. So in this kinds of transportation, like now there's like, you know, from place to place. For example, I think sometimes plane could not be safe, so people go by rail, and it's actually a bit cheaper than plane. So that's why rail transport. Okay, so next is advantages and disadvantages of rail transport. So an advantage is suitable for heavy goods and requires huge investment, and disadvantage. And suitable for long distance, and disadvantage, less flexible means for transport. So you can read those two other as well. Sometimes it's good to go in railways and sometimes it's bad. Next is pipelines transport. The use of a network of pipes to transport liquids or gases over long distance, typically to a market area for consumption. So in this, like for example, gas, liquids from place to place, and these kinds of pipeline transportations are not mostly in city areas. It's like, you know, and like hidden places, not like crowded, because it could be really dangerous. Next is ropeway transport. A system for transporting materials and or passengers in carriers suspended from or controlled by ropes. So in this kind of ropeway transport, the like for example, and there are a few places in India, like outside India, these ropeway transport is helping others, and you know, by people, and as well as, you know, carrying the products like raw. Next is inland water transport. So the transportation of people's goods and materials via waterways such as rivers, canals, lakes, and other navigable bodies of water that are located within a country's boundaries. So in inland water transport, it's not like, it's like inside one land. It's not like, you know, country to country. So this is just like from small places to another. For example, like Delhi to Noida. Next is ocean transport. It's like, you know, bigger. So transport of people, passengers, or goods like cargo via waterways. So in this, mostly it's like, you know, from bigger places, like one city to another city. It's like that. So and there are like two types of ocean transport. Coastal shipping, the transportation of goods and passengers by sea along countries, yes. And it's like coast or within its territorial waters. Next is overseas shipping, the process of transporting goods or people across borders by sea, air, or road. So there are like two types of ocean transport. Next is advantages and disadvantages of water transportation. So it's suitable for heavy cargo, and disadvantages is like slow speed and time consumption. It's really hard because, you know, if you want to you know, send one product to another, it takes like a lot of time. Next is air transport. So it's the movement of people, cargo, mail, and property by aircraft and other vehicles that can fly. So like planes and all. Next is advantages and disadvantages of air transport. So greater speed, yes, and disadvantages is like costly means of transport, because in this you can't like carry that much of like you know, heavy products. And that's it, guys. Thank you for today.